My name is Tess, and my two words are striving and secure. So I grew up in an awesome, loving Christian home. Both my parents are very rooted in their relationships with God, and as a family, we were fairly involved in the local church. And as a result, I grew up understanding and believing in who Jesus is. I understood that I'm an imperfect person and I live in an imperfect world, yet my God is a perfect God. And because of that, there's this separation between us. But because of God's love and His graciousness and His desire to be with me and with you, He sent His one and only perfect Son, Jesus, to live a perfect life and to die in place of my sins and my mistakes. And through that sacrifice, I have the opportunity to have a relationship with God now and ultimately forever. But although I understood that concept, I never really rested in the security that it offered. Instead, I found myself striving to find satisfaction and purpose and identity in my achievements. So throughout junior high and high school, I developed and built an arguably impressive resume through AP classes, impressive grades, multiple varsity sports, extracurricular leadership. Overall, I was just really hungry for success. And although I did genuinely enjoy most of the things that I did, and I would do a lot of them again in a heartbeat, looking back, the hunger that I had for that success was driven by a selfish pride and an anxiety. I really relished the recognition that I got for what I did, and ultimately feared failure, because if I wasn't this girl who was succeeding at all these things, I didn't really know who I was. But then fast forward a little bit and I went to college, and once I stepped onto the U of I campus, everything that I had achieved, everything that I had found that satisfaction and that purpose and that identity in became immediately irrelevant to the world around me. And my natural instinct at that point was to begin rebuilding that resume again, to find things to be involved in, to pour myself into my studies. But it was really through that transition that God began opening my eyes to the fact that I was striving after something that's so much less than what He has to offer. God began to develop in me a desire to pursue Him, to love others as He has loved me. That was separate and new from the routine that I had developed growing up. Just understanding that the satisfaction and the purpose that I had been striving for in these fleeting worldly things could only be found in God. Satisfaction can only be found in God. And resting in this fact and this security is something that I'm still working on a daily basis, but remembering that God's love is not something that can ever be earned, no matter how many extra study hours I put in or reps I do at the gym, and nor can it ever be taken away. It can't be graduated from. I will always, forever have a God that is for me, is just something that's so relieving to me. Instead of having to constantly strive to build myself this reputation, I get to glorify God in the things that I do, and rest in the security of the promises that He offers me. So my name is Tess, and those are my two words.